Hi people, it's me obviously, Moreno Ravenberg as always and as usual. You know the drill. The article that I'm going to treat by the subject of this name, the importance of real-time lunar movements in the occult. You can find that linked in the description as well as anything useful either in the description of this video or the end screen. Now, I'm going to read, as is customary for me, from my article and give any kind of additional statements and whatnot. And then I'm going to give a couple of examples. So yeah, let's get started. The importance of real-time lunar movements in the occult. You might not be aware of this, but the moon and its real-time movements play a pivotal role in occult operations. Generally speaking, you can do something on a particular day and time thinking that this is enough. And don't get me wrong, it is. In general, when you have enough experience in doing the aforementioned, e.g. hosting ritual or carrying out a magical operation on, let's say, a Monday, like today for example, in the day and hour of the moon, you'll notice that there are still minor differences and that some days, for a seemingly unexplained reason, are literally more or less potent than others. Especially when what you're doing requires the utmost levels of precision or accuracy. Well, guess what the reason for that is in general? So how to utilize that to one's benefit? How do I, Master Moreno, work with the moon in a real-time manner? Well, the moon has to be exalted, obviously. So the zodiac sign it's in and its aspects and so on. And see below video, so this video. I'm going to embed this video once I'm done with this video. And yeah, it's pretty much self-explanatory. If you're, for example, similar to me and you have enough experience, for example, on doing something of a magical nature, undertaking it, whether it's undertaking a magical project or hosting ritual for a spirit, on a specific day or time, for example, you host ritual for a Martian spirit, so Tuesday, and you use the planetary hours calculator, as a good deal of people that are watching this are already familiar with, and it just goes on, you know. Then you, when Mars is at its absolute strongest, for example, the first day of Tuesday, as in the first occult day, the first magical day, for example, when the sun comes up, and for example, it's like at 7 a.m., 7:15 a.m. in your location, then yeah, you might not notice it, but when you pay attention to detail, or when you've done it enough, as in you have enough experience or thorough experience, you'll notice that, you know, some days some days are better than others, as well as that's a general statement for the average person. Some days are better than others. Not every day is Sunday, okay, or not every day is the best day, and it just goes on. And obviously there rings truth in that, to say the least. But specifically when you're doing something that requires detail, like really being utmost detailed, then you'll notice that, for example, hey, I'm doing stuff, for example, this thing is of like a lunar nature, and I'm doing it every day when the moon is at its absolute strongest. So on the day of the moon, so the moon rules obviously Monday, and in the hour of the moon, for example, at night when the moon is at its strongest, using the planetary hours calculator, like the way that Moreno Ravenberg says. And yet still, you know, for example, I did the thing last week or 2 weeks ago and it was great, and now all of a sudden, you know, it's like slightly off by like a millimeter, so to speak, or a couple of millimeters. What's the reason for that? Well, most of the time, at least, or at the very least in general, it's real-time lunar movements, provided that there are no other factors playing a role. It's real-time lunar movements. Regardless of what you do, you need to take real-time lunar movements into account if you want to be literally as detailed as possible. You can loosely also refer to it as transit lunar movements, but I prefer to not use it like that. Simply use the phrase real-time lunar movements. It's more practical and more practically applicable. So yeah, so how do you use this essentially? By default, there are general rules you need to take into account. The moon has to be exalted, so the zodiac sign it's in, and the aspects, so the bond it has with other planets, for people that are unfamiliar with what aspects are. Now I'm going to give an example here. This is, for example, a simple, disregard the word transit. This is simply an event chart from December the 22nd last year. It was a Friday. 0:00 a.m. so literally at the beginning of the day, so like at midnight, so when the day in the human world began, so non-occult wise. And in my location, of course, yeah, you know what my location is. At the time of this recording, it's obvious. And it just goes on, the general the general settings for any astrological software you use. General settings. Now, as you can tell here, midnight at the aforementioned day and the aforementioned location, the moon is 0 degrees in Taurus, and it's surrounded by a bunch of other planets and or celestial bodies. So I'm just going to give an example. Let's just say that you do your thing and you were like, okay, the day starts officially, Friday starts officially when the sun comes up, and in my location it is, let me check the planetary hours calculator. You know, I also live in Paramaribo, Suriname, and December the 22nd last year, it's Friday, as in, okay, look, see, Friday begins for me at 6:46 a.m. and it ends at 7:45 a.m. So I can do my operation at 7 a.m. That seems nice. Venus will be nice and strong then. Yes, correct. So let's fast forward to Venus, to when Venus will actually start to rule. Boom, this is what it will look like. The constellation will look like in real time. Pay close attention to details, see to that you don't get anything wrong. And then at 7 a.m. exactly, okay, you see for yourself, okay, boom, planetary hours calculator says that yes, Venus is at its strongest, okay, 22nd, everything, okay, Friday. Where is the moon? The moon is in Taurus. See, there you go. Now, you need to pay attention. Within this context, for the aforementioned purposes, or for the purposes of which this video is recorded, obviously, you disregard aspects to house cusps, so these lines that separate houses. You don't have to worry about the house so much. It's purely looking at things in a matter of speaking at a basic level. So not doing it in a highly detailed manner the way you would usually do things, like, for example, with natal astrology or area astrology. The moon, you simply pay attention to the zodiac sign and the aspects. The general rules that I can give in the way of information is that the ascendant and midheaven weigh quite heavily. The zodiac sign that the moon is in also weighs a substantial amount. The part of fortune also. And minor celestial bodies such as Pallas, the nodes don't apply. Lilith, Juno, and Chiron, these are minor and they don't matter as much, they don't weigh as heavily. So yeah, simple example. Now, you were to ask yourself, can I carry out my operation in a highly detailed fashion so that I am literally going at your full throttle, max power? I didn't overlook a single thing to my knowledge, etc. I even took real-time lunar movements, just like Marina Ravenberg said, into account. Now, the moon is in Taurus. The moon isn't the best in Taurus. Default rule applies. The moon is strong astrologically in all water signs, so Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, and it's weak adversely in earth signs. So Taurus, thingy, Virgo, and Capricorn. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And it's strong in Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Now, the moon being in Taurus here obviously means that it's not in the best position, zodiacally speaking. But it is conjunct Jupiter, it is conjunct the part of fortune in the same zodiac signs. Like I already said, you can disregard these, not that they're aspected, honestly. A conjunction goes from, for the moon, it goes all the way to 12 degrees in Taurus, and in reverse, it goes It goes 4 minus 8 is 26 in Aries. Now, I also need to emphasize that to my knowledge, at the date of this recording, retrogrades don't apply. And in general, no, my intuition tells me they also don't apply. But again, the moon doesn't even go retrograde to begin with. The sun and the moon, luminaries, they don't go retrograde. So it doesn't even apply, you know. But let's just say, even if it were to be another planet that you would be using, just for the sake of argument, then retrogrades would not apply. And yeah, anyways, now we see a sextile here with Saturn. Saturn is not in the best position zodiacally, so it's a weak sextile. It's in Pisces. Saturn is afflicted in Pisces. We see 3 trines, one with the Sun, one with Mercury. Again, the retrograde is non-applicable. It applies also to the planets that the moon is aspected to, and one to the ascendant, which is great. But for the ascendant, it is a weak trine, because the ascendant is in Capricorn and the moon is Capricorn, and the moon don't mix. It's one of the weakest signs. It's the weakest sign officially that the moon can be in. Nevertheless, it's still a positive aspect, a heavily positive aspect at that. So you've got 3 trines. You've got 1 sextile with Saturn. You've got 3 trines. The Sun and Mercury function neutrally in Capricorn. Mercury functions a bit better, moderately strong in Capricorn. It is also sextile the Earth, which is in Cancer. Strong sextile since the moon rules Cancer. And it is square Pluto. And it's a strong square because Pluto is quite strong. The moon is one of the weakest positions it can be in, and the planet by default is at one of the strongest signs it can be in. Pluto is Capricorn. A square goes from... a square officially starts at 4 degrees in Aquarius. 4 minus 8 equals 26. Yeah, 26. The square starts at 26 and it goes all the way to 26 in Capricorn, and it goes all the way to 12 in Aquarius. Let me double check that. Yeah, 4 minus and 4 plus 8. Yeah, 12. It ends at 12 in Aquarius. It starts, a perfect square is 4 in Aquarius, because Aquarius is the 11th zodiac sign and Taurus is the 2nd zodiac sign. So yeah, a square, 90-degree angle. So the square starts at 26 in Capricorn and it ends at 12 in Aquarius. So yeah, it's square Pluto and it's a strong square. You're also seeing that it's like positively aspected to Lilith, but like I already said, Lilith it's trine Lilith. But Lilith, on top of being weak Lilith, like I already told you, it's a minor celestial body, so it doesn't weigh as heavily. So for all intents and purposes, we're going to simply disregard the minor celestial bodies. And let me see if there is anything else in the way of an aspect. It could be an opposition, or an opposition that's a conjunction in reality with Pallas, which is 13 degrees in Scorpio, but it doesn't matter because it's too far off. A conjunction goes all the way to the orb for a conjunction, so the leeway that's allowed or permitted is 8. So a conjunction goes all the way, the moon is 4 degrees and 4 minutes in Taurus, so a conjunction goes to 12 degrees and 4 minutes. And Pallas is 13 degrees and 49 minutes in Scorpio. If you subtract that, then it is 1349 minus 12.4 is 145. 1 degree and 45 minutes. That's by how much it's off, if I didn't make any small errors. I don't think I did, no. So yeah, no, it's not conjunct, therefore it cannot be, it's not, therefore it's simply not aspected. It doesn't fall within the scope, within the orb. So yeah, I think that's about it. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, but this is just an example, obviously. But even then, yeah, it's me, so yeah. So in any case, provided I didn't miss anything, I don't think I did. You have 2 conjunctions. The moon is afflicted. It is conjunct Jupiter. It is conjunct the pot of fortune. Jupiter is neutral in Taurus. It is sextile Saturn, but Saturn is afflicted. It is trine the Sun, Mercury, and the ascendant, but the ascendant is afflicted. It's a weak trine, therefore making it a weak trine. It is sextile the Earth, strong sextile, and it's square Pluto. So... sorry. So 2 conjunctions, 2 sextiles, 3 trines, and 1 square. And yeah, that's about it. Like I said, you don't count the trine with the weak trine with Lilith. Weak because Lilith is also just like the moon, strong in water signs and weak in earth signs, and Lilith is in an earth sign, Virgo. And that is it. So 2 conjunctions, 3 trines, and 2 sextiles, and 1 square. Based on all of this, by default, in conjunction with your intuition, my intuition tells me that the moon has a strength on a scale of 0 to 100%, or between a scale of, on a scale or between 0 and 100%, 65. 67 at absolute most, but the official number in terms of potency is 65%. That's not too bad, obviously. That's still good. Essentially, anything below 50% is a no. A big no, a moderately sized no even, a considerably sized no. Anything all the way up to 58 in general is also not the best. It's kind of like a cliffhanger for whatever operation you're undertaking. But anything past 60 in general is, yeah, decent. You need to think of it like a report card, honestly, that where numbers are used instead of letters. Okay, a 5, if you get a 5 on a final exam, then no, it's not the best, you know. You're going to flunk that grade. A 5 isn't enough. A 5.5, they'll allow you maybe to take the exam again, like a re-exam or an exam repeated to give you a second, as a means of giving you a second chance. But starting at a 6, you're in the clear. So yeah, and the same rule applies here within a matter of speaking. So 65 is good, okay? Someone were to ask me, I'd say, yeah, you can go ahead, okay? You've got the green light for the operation, for your operation. Let alone if I were to tell myself, obviously. 65%. So you can see that it is correct, because despite a couple of minor drawbacks, the moon not being at its strongest, the ascendant not being at its strongest in relation to its respective bond with the moon or aspect with the moon, and that strong square with Pluto, the benefits still outweigh the drawbacks. Again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positive points. Compare that to 1 substantially negative point. When you spiritually or astrally or mentally when you do all of the aforementioned, spiritually, astrally and mentally, or a combination thereof, you put all of them together, you add and subtract the values, you're still left with a surplus. Not a tremendous surplus, but a surplus nevertheless. So 6.5 on a scale of 0 to 10 is the end result, or better said 65%, in terms of measuring whether the moon is healthy and strong in terms of real-time placement at the time of you carrying out your operation. So it's 7 a.m. respectively on Friday, when Friday officially begins, within given example. So yeah, that's how to read a real-time lunar thingy, a real-time lunar movement event through astrology. Like I said, the ascendant weighs heavily, part of fortune weighs heavily, the zodiac signs that the moon is in weighs heavily. You know, fire and earth and air signs, or like Libra and Aries, are neutral, but water is really strong, and earth signs is weak. And the aspects to the planets matter, obviously, especially the sun, since the sun is the strongest. The sun is also carries a considerable amount of weight with it. And yeah, that's essentially it. So again, you need to, as is the case by default, honestly, for highly detailed readings like these, ultra detailed readings like these, even if I say so myself, you need to use your intuition and all the other astral faculties you have, to put it that way, in conjunction with the reading. But that's the end consensus. So yeah, if I were to, for example, do something like this myself, then I would say, yeah, I have the green light. Okay, the end score is 65%. The moon has a strength of 65% on a scale of 0 to 100. 65% is above, slightly above average. You're essentially, you're 15% clear of the 50% that would be a no. So again, it's let's just say it's semi-exalted. Let's just put it that way. There is no specific way to phrase it, but bottom line is, the moon is strong enough and healthy enough and well balanced enough, and all the aforementioned combined to the point where you can carry out your operation and expect success when it comes to a highly detailed or an ultra detailed operation. That's it, guys. Bye until next time.